Hello, I'm Liana Valente, and I'm delighted to be a part of the Aging and Social Change 11th Interdisciplinary Conference. I regret that we're unable to meet in person to explore the joys and benefits of music making together. Even though we're not in beautiful Vancouver, I would like to acknowledge Vancouver as the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. And I recorded this presentation in Alexandria, Virginia, the ancestral territory of the Dogue and Piscataway people. For almost 2 years, we've been struggling with this global pandemic. Our lives have been turned upside down, and for many of us, our families have suffered great loss. I wish to extend my deepest sympathies to those who have lost loved ones and hope that those of you who did contract the virus are healing and looking forward to the future. If we were meeting in person, you would have entered the workshop room hearing music, and you would have been encouraged to sing along as you found your seats. Even though we can't be together, I hope you're in a place where you can start this session singing. What you're about to hear is a Peter, Paul, and Mary recording of This Land Is Your Land, the American folk song written by Woody Guthrie in 1940 to a Carter family tune. Even after his death in 1967, This Land Is Your Land became a rallying cry for the civil rights movement. I hope you'll sing along with this recording from wherever you're watching this session.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and I rambled and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was singing, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me those golden valleys. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As the sun was shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, as the fog was lifting, a voice was saying, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.
I hope you enjoyed singing with that recording. So, what do you notice about your physical self? Are you sitting or standing a little taller? Are you breathing a little deeper? Is there a smile on your face? What about your emotional state right now? Has your mood been even slightly altered towards the positive end of the scale? Do you feel more engaged and ready to proceed through this session? Actively taking part in the arts, especially music making, most certainly can improve the overall quality of your life over the long term, but it can also have a profound effect in the short term. You can choose to experience these sensations anytime and in any place by yourself, such as singing to the radio in your house or your car. But to experience this in a group adds a whole other dimension, whether that be joining others in Take Me Out to the Ball Game during the seventh inning stretch, congregational singing at a house of worship, or singing with a group of friends. I wish we could be together today, but know that many who are watching this recording are sharing this experience with you. I've served as a music professor for almost 30 years, teaching at different colleges and universities throughout the eastern United States. I currently serve as the Associate Department Chair and Coordinator of the Classical Voice area at Howard University in Washington, D.C. I'm proud to be part of a group of educators who are training the next generation of music professionals, including performers, music educators, and music therapists. And I'm acutely aware of the important work and research that continues to be conducted demonstrating the benefits of musical intervention for those suffering from physical and psychological challenges. However, today my focus will be on the benefits of actively participating in music making, specifically group singing, for older persons progressing through the natural aging process. While you are familiar with the terms passive and active, have you thought about them regarding music participation? Both passive and active music experiences can provide physical, psychological, and social benefits to everyone, and current research from across the globe supports this. Passive activities can include listening to music as you complete other tasks, such as walking, playing cards, paying bills, or doing the laundry. And while attending a concert allows for us to focus our attention on the music produced in the hall, we are still passively experiencing the concert as we listen. But we do experience joy and other emotions through passively experiencing music. We can experience music actively when it supports another activity, such as social dancing or creating a painting or a sculpture inspired by the music. However, actively creating music, especially singing, can vastly improve one's overall well-being physically, socially, and psychologically. Active music participation occurs when you purposefully make music. I'd like to thank and acknowledge the generosity of the members of the North Shore Community Chorus on Long Island, New York. Directed by Stephen Goldstein since 1983, this chorus has allowed thousands of music lovers to join together to create powerful and beautiful music for their benefit and the benefit of their community. I was a student at North Shore High School when Steve, our chorus director, created this ensemble. During that first year, students and community members joined together to perform concerts on our high school stage and at other venues on Long Island. When I began focusing my research on matters of music participation for older persons, I immediately reached out to Steve. He and the choir members invited me to rehearsals, answered questionnaires, and provided short video and written testimonials about their experiences, some of which are included in today's presentation. I extend my sincere thanks to them for their time and for sharing their love of music with me. Let's start by examining some of the basic physical benefits of singing, and please know that these benefits will be experienced when singing any style of music. Sing what you enjoy. The important thing is to sing. Breathing for singing requires a conscious connection with the breathing process. When singing, you must plan where and for how long you can take in breath, and you must stretch out the exhalation of breath to sing musical phrases. Breathing for singing is an exaggeration of the everyday breathing process, and this heightened level of inspiration and expiration improves overall health. Breathing deeply and expansively, which is required for singing, improves overall oxygenation of the blood, since the volume of air needed for singing is greater than the volume of air needed for speaking. The act of singing engages the mechanisms for healthy and optimal body alignment, focusing on strengthening the core muscles of the body and many of the muscles that support our skeletal structure. Since singing requires that we pay more attention to the movement and use of this musculature, the overall health benefits include more flexibility and improved strength. Singers focus on the muscles needed to sit, stand, balance, move, and of course sing. A healthy alignment for singing is a healthy alignment for living. Singing requires that we intentionally pronounce and articulate words at a higher level compared to the needed articulation for regular speech. Chorus members must focus on the production of pure vowels and crisp consonants, which engages the major articulators, including the tongue, jaw, lips, and teeth. Each singer needs to quickly and cleanly articulate words, coordinating with the other singers in the group. Group singing also demands that the singer listen to the other singers in the ensemble and make small and large changes to their sound in order to blend. These aspects of the physical requirements of singing, when addressed in a community setting of a chorus, allows the members to work towards improving overall health without really working. Benefits occur through the act of singing, not by isolating each aspect, but by engaging in an activity that coordinates these physical actions. There is improvement in overall health through the continued development of the breathing mechanism, attention to retaining optimal singing posture, and working the fine motor skills of the articulators. Of course, the natural aging process takes its toll on the physical instrument. Muscle, ligament, and neural tissues atrophy over time, and cartilages inevitably ossify. But the progression of this loss can be stalled by exercising the muscles, especially the muscles involved with breathing, alignment, and articulation. Psychological benefits of group singing are challenging to quantify, but are observable. For example, singing increases self-confidence through overcoming challenges, such as learning new music. Singing acquaints one with the inner meaning of words, and thus stimulates deeper insight into poetry and prose. Singing as a means of self-expression is a medium of release for pent-up emotions. Some of the psychological benefits of group singing include improved self-esteem, a heightened sense of purpose and accomplishment, increased feelings of empowerment, enjoyment, contentment, happiness, and peace, lessened feelings of isolation, stress, and anxiety, maintenance and improvement of cognition, easier retrieval of memories serving as an avenue for creative self-expression, enhanced spiritual health, and fulfillment through music learning. Some of the social benefits of group singing include networking, socializing, making friends, connecting with others, and having a sense of community. Singing gives pleasure to oneself and ultimately to one's friends. This is a copy of one of the very first concert programs of the North Shore Community Chorus. What started as a small collaboration between high school and community singers has become an integral part of the school district's community education program. Peter Girizzo, superintendent of schools, said, "The North Shore Community Education Program serves as a vital community resource for our residents to learn a new skill, hone an existing one, or simply explore a new hobby or course of study that is of interest. The program serves as a resource to explore the joys and wonders that new learning brings." Let me share with you part of an interview I conducted with Steve Goldstein in late 2019. I asked him to talk about the community chorus and why it's become such an important part of his life and the lives of Long Island residents.
I'm Stephen Goldstein. I'm the director of the North Shore Community Chorus. We formed the chorus in 1983, so you do the math, it's 30-something years, I guess. This has been a labor of love for me. Even though I started when I was a full-time public school teacher, Monday night was always the night to reach out to the community and perform some of the great masterworks that we couldn't do in high school all the time, although sometimes we did do masterworks in high school as well. I think it's one of the greatest thrills in the world to sing one of the great masterpieces of choral music and sing it live with an orchestra and soloists. It's just such a turn on. I'm 71 years old and I'm still thriving on it. We're singing Haydn Creation, which is like therapy. It is absolute therapy. For whatever problems you're having, whether it's backaches or illness in the family or whatever, you come to community chorus and you just let the music transport you. We have experienced singers, we have amateur singers, and we're lucky to have a nice blend of both of them. The experienced singers bring the amateur singers up, and hopefully at the end of the session everybody is raised up, so to speak. Haydn is some of the most beautifully written, skillfully written for the human voice. And as you can hear, they're just eating it up. The average mean age, I guess, in the group is probably maybe 50, 60, and we have 70, 80s in there. I don't know how old the oldest person is, but they come out dedicated every week, and can't wait to do our concert. And as long as God keeps giving me the energy, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Because of our ever-changing and often hectic lives, it's important for many adults to have flexibility in their schedules. For some, making a commitment to a chorus or a band for 8 months is just not possible. This is where fluid entry points come in. They allow adults of all ages with different levels of music experience the freedom to belong and experience music making at their own pace. These experiences include Bobby McFerrin's singing workshops called Circle Songs, an immersion in sound, creativity, and community. McFerrin explains, it challenges all participants to play, sing, invent, imagine, and explore. In the circle, we make music, build trust, take risks, and embrace life to the fullest. Every song, every voice has a place in the circle. Many communities offer a variety of fluid entry points, including drumming circles, weekly folk sessions in the park, and even informal jam sessions for jazz, bluegrass, music theater, and rock and roll enthusiasts. You can find music organizations that are committed to lifelong learning across the globe. These are just a few of the local, regional, national, and international organizations here in the United States. The New Horizons International Music Association is an umbrella nonprofit committed to the philosophy of music making for all at all ages. New Horizons began as a band program developed by Roy Ernst of the Eastman School of Music in 1991. The program offered adults the chance to learn how to play a concert band instrument and perform with other amateur musicians. New Horizons has since grown to include orchestras, chamber ensembles, and vocal ensembles. You can look for a local New Horizons ensemble in your area by searching their website. Encore is the nation's largest choral organization for adults over the age of 55. Founded by Gene Kelly in 2007, it grew out of Miss Kelly's work conducting a small senior singers chorale at a senior residential home. It's based in Maryland and has grown to include 15 chorales and 6 rock and roll choruses in the metro Baltimore-Washington area. It also has a chorale in New York City and affiliate programs in Santa Clarita, California, Denver, Colorado, Hudson, Ohio, and Reading, Pennsylvania. Of particular interest is a new encore choir for adults diagnosed with early to moderate Alzheimer's disease and other memory struggles. The 8-week program culminates in a final concert, and all singers participate with a care partner. Once it's safe to meet in person, I encourage you to explore the opportunities in your communities, and if there isn't a group that interests you, start your own. I took the picture on the left during a North Shore Community Chorus rehearsal in the fall of 2019. To me, this is what community singing is all about, learning and making music with friends from all walks of life at all ages. I asked members to share with me their experiences singing with this choir. Cindy, pictured on the right, age 65, emailed this to me. Joining this chorus, as I did almost 3 years ago, has been the best thing I've done in many years. I did it on a whim after seeing a neighbor perform. The thought of singing in a group situation with lots of like-minded individuals really excited me. It hasn't disappointed. I love my rehearsal Mondays and always walk away completely lifted. The concerts themselves are thrilling. It's exciting to see how we go from, "This is too hard," to, "Wow, this is great." What it's done for me is to give me an insight into ways I can improve my life. I just turned 65 and I'm still working but retiring this year. The chorus shows me that there are great possibilities for me in the future. I should never say no to anything. And it's also showed me that you can make friends in later life. So has participation improved the quality of my life? Yes, in all respects. Of course, almost all group activities halted in the spring of 2020 due to the pandemic. In early 2020, we knew very little about this virus, especially how it was transmitted. While we were all wiping down our groceries and doorknobs with disinfecting wipes, we never imagined that one of the most beloved group activities, singing, was one of the most dangerous things we could do. You might remember reading about the community chorus, the Saget Valley Chorale in Washington State. As reported in the LA Times on March 29, 2020, the choir had gathered for their regular evening rehearsal at Mount Vernon Presbyterian Church on March 10th. No one exhibited signs of illness at the time, but 3 weeks later, of the 60 singers who were at the 2.5-hour rehearsal that night, 45 members were diagnosed with COVID-19 or were ill with symptoms, 3 were hospitalized, and 2 had died. Singing, we learned, was a super spreader. As if overnight, music groups and theater companies shut down, schools and senior centers closed, Major League Sports suspended their sessions, and Broadway went dark. Most of us began isolating and were in lockdown. Weeks went by, and the infection rate continued to climb. We were all worried and wondered, how would we manage? By summer, some groups started meeting online via virtual meeting platforms like Skype, Zoom, GoToMeeting, and Teams. They tried to meet synchronously, but found that the software simply was not adequate for any kind of group music making. Some musicians kept making music on their own by using instructional videos distributed by their ensemble directors and meeting in small groups online. Zoom became the go-to platform for musicians. While it was not the same as learning and performing in person, it was better than nothing. We saw the emergence of virtual choirs, first from schools and universities, and then from both professional and amateur organizations. Some of you may have even participated in a virtual concert. The results are stunning, but the process is challenging. Members record themselves at home after receiving lots of instructions from their directors. These videos are then sent to a technician who painstakingly combines all of the files, ensuring that video and audio match up, taking hours to create a short video. But while these finished products were a welcome diversion, each performer was creating music in a solitary environment. You'll find a link to a wonderfully funny video by the St. Giles Festival Choir on your handout. But now, thanks to information from the medical experts, coupled with the distribution of vaccines, some choirs are starting to meet in person again. Health restrictions include wearing masks, staying at least 6 feet apart, and if they perform or rehearse indoors, limiting rehearsal times to 20 to 30 minutes, followed by time to turn over the air in the room. But even though we can be together in some cases, our regular behaviors have changed. There are no more handshakes and hugs, no coffee time. Members check their temperature before coming to rehearsal, and some groups ask members to fill out a health questionnaire before they arrive. But after more than a year, we are able to make music again. According to one of my church choir director friends in Florida, Diane Wright, during the choir's first in-person rehearsal in over a year, the first hour was spent talking, laughing, and crying. I'd like to spend a little time talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act and want to address those in the audience who are city planners, architects, council members, and all others who play a role in designing, building, and customizing places of work, leisure, and worship. With an educated eye towards the physical capabilities of older persons, city and community planners can easily create spaces that comply with the ADA, first ratified in 1990. However, we must ensure that we go beyond compliance and guarantee that all who want to participate are offered full access. New and remodeled spaces need to take into consideration the needs of all musicians, but especially those with mobility challenges. Of course, we want our music rooms to be acoustically sound, have room for a piano, chairs, risers, and perhaps even a music library. Let's not forget an office for the choir director and collaborative pianist, and storage space for stands and robes. A redesign of the typical choir room is relatively simple if you know what needs you're trying to meet. With regard to risers, those in a room specifically designed for access to all must include oversized risers deep enough to allow a walker, wheelchair, or chair, and have ramps. Typical choir risers are only 18 inches deep and can be up to 8 inches high. They are inadequate and do not allow for those with mobility challenges to easily enter and exit the risers. For years, manufacturers have built seated risers for bands and orchestras, risers with deck depths of 3 and 4 feet. Purchasing these risers will allow the conductor to hold rehearsals where all singers may sit, and will allow those singers who use walkers and wheelchairs to be placed within the ensemble. This way, the only consideration for where a singer is to be placed within the choir will be musical, based on volume, timbre, blending abilities, allowing the director to place the voices where the singer will be most effective. The director can then keep musical needs as the deciding factor of placement, not defaulting to placing those with mobility issues on the floor level, regardless of voice type. And it should be noted that these risers are movable, so they can be placed in performance venues when it is time for concerts. I also want to include a note about places of worship. It can be almost impossible for singers with mobility challenges to access choir lofts. When designing new places of worship or making renovations to comply with the ADA, we need to stress the importance of accessibility, building ramps, chair lifts, wider platforms, and in general acknowledging that these modifications will not only be beneficial to seniors, but everyone. And finally, I'd like to turn our attention to the publishers, printers, and composers, those who produce the materials that make it possible for us to participate in many musical activities. I was thrilled to learn that one of the major music publishing companies, J.W. Pepper, now offers large print choir scores. The typical size of a piece of choral music, the octavo, is approximately 7 by 10 3/4 inches, making it a challenge to read the music because of the small print. The large print editions are described this way on the J.W. Pepper website. Printed on 9 by 12 paper, this music is significantly larger but retains the same pagination, measure numbers, and page turns so no one gets lost. And J.W. Pepper offers these scores at the same price as the regular size scores. Even small publishing houses and independent composers have begun to offer music in larger print formats. Many publishers, large and small, are starting to offer their music electronically through e-printing or on-demand printing. This allows the director to print on standard paper, which already enlarges the print from the traditional octavo size. And e-printing saves money. Many of my composer colleagues agree that it's a simple matter to enlarge the print of a score and include larger measure numbers. All of us here today are committed to improving the lives of older persons in the United States and across the globe. And with organizations like the American Society on Aging, the Aging and Social Change Research Network, AARP, and others working to create positive change, we have certainly made progress. But there's also a global community of individuals and organizations that is committed to health, success, and prosperity for all. I'm talking about the United Nations. In 1946, the Department of Public Information of the United Nations was established by a General Assembly resolution to promote global awareness and understanding of the work of the United Nations. DPI undertook this goal through radio, television, print, the internet, video conferencing, and other media tools, including social media. The Department of Public Information was dedicated to communicating the ideals and work of the United Nations to the world, to interacting and partnering with diverse audiences, and to building support for peace, development, and human rights for all. In January of 2019, the Department of Public Information was renamed the Department of Global Communications. With the DPI's renaming came a new directive that the department was now committed to the success of United Nations Agenda 2030 and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So what is Agenda 2030? The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015, provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and into the future. At its heart are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, which are an urgent call for action by all countries developed and developing in a global partnership. They recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth, all while tackling climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. Agenda 2030 is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It grew out of the United Nations Millennium Development Goals and was implemented in January 2016. It aims to transform our world and to improve people's lives and prosperity on a healthy planet. It applies to all countries through partnerships and peace. Countries, regions, cities, the business sector, and civil society are actively engaged in implementing the agenda and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. They are mobilizing efforts to end all forms of poverty, fight inequalities, and tackle climate change while ensuring that no one is left behind. I first learned about United Nations Agenda 2030 and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals shortly after I was appointed to serve as the National Federation of Music Clubs representative to the Department of Public Information in 2016. NFMC was the first music non-governmental organization to be recognized by the UNDPI and has been an associate member of what is now the Department of Global Communications since 1949. Each of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals addresses a specific challenge facing the world population, including ending hunger, guaranteeing quality education and gender equality for all, and taking action to combat climate change. SDGs 1 through 16 list specific targets for change, while SDG 17 focuses on the need to develop partnerships. Quote, "A successful sustainable development agenda requires partnerships between governments, the private sector, and civil society. These inclusive partnerships, built upon principles and values, a shared vision, and shared goals that place people and the planet at the center, are needed at the global, regional, national, and local level." I encourage you to explore UN Agenda 2030 and all of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals online. Great strides were being made in meeting the target goals of all the SDGs until the beginning of 2020. You may not be aware, but the United Nations and the World Health Organization have been leaders in combating this deadly COVID-19 virus. Before the pandemic, the UN recognized that ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being at all ages is essential to sustainable development. That fundamental truth has not altered, even though some resources that were earmarked to meet the Agenda 2030 goals have been shifted to fight this global pandemic. And while we all struggle with the pandemic, the UN, WHO, and other organizations continue to work to reach these goals for peace, equality, and health, leaving no one behind. The first briefing I attended at UN headquarters in New York City was entitled "The Global Aging Population, Impact and Implementation of Agenda 2030. This briefing focused on SDG number 3, to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. I was inspired by the speakers at that briefing, but I was also concerned because not one of the panel members spoke about the important roles the fine arts play in improving the quality of life for all people, but especially older persons. I realized that much of the literature on health and well-being for older persons completely omits fine arts participation, so I decided to focus my work there. I presented a paper on this very topic at the 2017 Aging and Society Conference held in Berkeley, California. I was one of only 4 presenters who discussed the many benefits of fine arts participation for older persons. I've been speaking and writing about improving quality of life for older persons through music participation ever since, and I'm honored to be a presenter at this year's conference, sharing with you information about this important but often overlooked aspect of health and well-being. The target goals for SDG number 3 focus on ensuring that all people of the world have access to safe and affordable health care, including universal health coverage, reducing premature mortality from non-communicable diseases through prevention and treatment, and promoting mental health and well-being. I think you'll agree that singing and group music making is an important part of this goal. One more note about our global partners. The World Health Organization names our decade the Decade of Healthy Aging. We cannot have a better partner in realizing our goals of healthy aging than the WHO. You can access all available resources related to the global campaign to combat ageism by following the UN link on this slide. This link is also on the handout created for this session that you can download. I hope this brief presentation has inspired you to return to music making or to make music a part of your life. Perhaps you'll pick up an instrument you haven't played in years, or maybe you'll join a local chorus. Perhaps you can start a concert group to listen and discuss performances with friends. There are many opportunities to attend live, free events, both online and in person. And with the careful reopening of our communities, there will be opportunities to meet in person to create music together once again. I hope you'll share your plans for future engagement or write about some of your experiences with music in the discussion area on our conference platform. There is no doubt that this pandemic has ravaged the senior population of our nation and our world. We know the statistics, but we can also now see the dawn on the horizon. Vaccination rates are up, members of communities are preparing to receive booster shots, and while it may still take months for our communities to reach herd immunity, I believe and science supports that we will get there. And once it is safe to go out and gather in groups, please do seek out a community chorus, band, orchestra, or other group where you can experience and make music with others. This might be a New Horizons ensemble, a community chorus, or a Bobby McFerrin type song circle. You might consider creating your own group, meeting and singing with recordings for the sheer joy of singing. Not only will it improve your overall physical, emotional, and social well-being, it will be fun. I have one final music selection for you today. This is a stunning intergenerational arrangement of Sing, originally written by Joe Raposo for Sesame Street in 1971. This arrangement by Kurt Bester was commissioned by the American Festival Choir and Orchestra, directed by Craig Jessup, and I gratefully acknowledge their permission to share it with you.
Sing, sing a song, sing it loud, sing it strong. Sing of good things, not bad. Sing of happy, not sad. Sing, sing a song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry if it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Sing, sing a song.
Sing
I hope you leave this session with a song in your heart, but I also hope that I've shared with you the information you need to push for change in your communities, change that will allow all citizens to participate in music as performers or audience members free of barriers. I also hope that this session has shown you ways you can make substantial changes in your lives and the lives of your communities. For some of you, finding a music group to join may be as simple as signing up at your local rec center. For others, you may need to convince your town officials to designate a place and funds to create a drum circle, harmonica band, or rock band. Calling for change is never easy, but with perseverance, change can happen. With our understanding of why music is important to us physically, psychologically, and socially, we can all make changes to improve the quality of life for us and our neighbors, allowing all citizens to participate in music without barriers. If you would like to continue this conversation with me, please leave a note in the discussion area or send me an email. Thank you all for attending. Bye-bye.